I was fortunate to be raised in a small town where I attended the same school from first grade through my senior year of high school. Each autumn, we would be asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" It's interesting to think that a first grader would set a career goal and achieve it. At an early age, this gave me the impression that the path from school to career was supposed to be a direct line. By the end of college, I realized that my path was likely to have many side routes. And by the time I was 30, I came to enjoy the fact that my path was sometimes circuitous, consisting of a few sudden stops and at least one U turn. The result was that I had multiple careers I loved. In retrospect, perhaps this school project was designed to give the teachers a few laughs rather than to help us set career goals. If you doubt this, please consider my cumulative annual entries from my student portfolio. Starting in first grade, I wanted to be a bird. Clearly, I didn't understand the assignment, but I'm also glad I didn't say artist. In second grade, I wanted to be a fat lady in the circus, but I have no explanation for what I was thinking. Third grade, a peacock farmer. Fourth grade, a number person. And fifth grade, a teacher. In sixth grade, I refined that a little bit and decided I wanted to be a math teacher, then a bulldozer operator, and then an equipment operator. Looking back, I realized that many of my career goals in elementary school were the result of my strong family ties and the desire to emulate those people I respect. So going on to high school. In ninth grade, I wanted to be a biologist. In 10th grade, an accountant. But at least I wasn't calling it a number person anymore. And then 11th and 12th grade, I had the same goal, to become a special education teacher. I guess it's just as well that I decided to attend college and study special education because I don't think there is any college that offers courses on being a bird. During my freshman year at college, I met a professor who encouraged us to take volunteer or paid positions in the variety of special education areas so that we could learn which areas might hold the most appeal. This trying out of a career was so valuable. It challenged the glamorized ideals I had from novels and movies. Yes, it is exciting when someone with autism makes sustained eye contact for the first time. But I did have trouble finding joy in learning how to passively restrain someone having a psychotic break so that he wouldn't hurt himself. By the end of college, I had accumulated almost 800 hours of practical experience. This included full-time, paid summer jobs and volunteer work during the school year. By my junior year, I had decided that I wanted to work with the emotionally disturbed. I had a solid understanding of what such a position might entail, and having worked in a variety of settings and seen many different styles of teaching, I'd started to define what might work for me. In addition, I had real experience to put on my resume. So off to work I went. My first position was in a school district that had an early intervention program. My caseload consisted of children between 18 months and 5 years, as well as their parents. Later, I worked with 3rd through 6th graders and finally high school, where students aged out of the program at 25. There were so many things I loved about these positions, and a few that frustrated me. The most difficult lesson for me to learn was to protect my heart just a little. If I melted into a puddle of tears every time something sad happened, I wouldn't have been any help to my students or their families. There was sometimes heartbreak, the junkyard children, those that everyone had already discarded as being useless, and the tiny steps forward followed by big steps backward when a student was struggling to learn. And knowing that some students were going home to insecure or unsafe situations and I couldn't change that. And there was frustration, sometimes dealing with a court system that didn't always understand the issues facing these unique youth. The few colleagues who were reluctant to have my students in their classrooms, and the seemingly endless paperwork and meetings as everyone involved in an individual education plan gets their voices heard. But all of this, was far outweighed by the joy of listening to the same knock-knock jokes over and over again. Or helping someone reach an educational milestone that came so easily to that person's peer group. Seeing parents' reactions to their children's social successes. Being the cheerleader, the shoulder to cry on, or the voice of reason. Acting as a resource through the bureaucratic maze that often accompanies a special needs student. Meeting parents who are willing to move heaven and earth to advocate for their child. And knowing students who achieved beyond anyone's expectations. Or visiting a student at his first job site and hearing his supervisor compliment his work. Then helping a youth become emancipated from an untenable situation. And over it all was never knowing what the next day would bring. But the ultimate joy was that if I did my job right, the students thought they got there all by themselves.